So let's talk about David Ayer.
David Ayer came to you and said, I got an idea for a movie.
I would say, what is it?
Just saying, before Suicide Squad, if this came out after Fury,
I would.
You would have what? Don't even fucking lie.
Tell David Ayer that he needs to reconsider everything he's doing as a director.
Now he does. I mean, now he's like kind of lost that cred, but.
Well, because Sabotage.
Well, did he? Because how was this movie
Sabotage wasn't bad. I give that one like a 6 or a 7.
How was this movie received? Has anyone heard anything
really
bad about
it?
Right?
Kind of critically panned.
The critics said it was the worst movie of 2017. Fans saw it when it started coming out, and they said it wasn't as bad as critics say, and it was kind of split. There were people who said they enjoyed it and said the same thing and needed context, and it would have benefited from them doing like a prequel or some kind of series to explain this world and what was going on. And then there were other fans who were just like, they really didn't like the movie. The other thing that people kept commenting on was Will did Suicide Squad with David Ayer. He did Bright with David Ayer. He's going to do Suicide Squad 2 with David Ayer. And they're already greenlit Bright 2 with David Ayer. So at some point, when are you going to stop working with David Ayer? Or is this just the only director you're ever going to work with again?
I don't ever hire him. Right now.
All right. And what are your favorite David Ayer inspired movies?
Well, earlier you said Training Day, and for me, that would automatically be number one on my list.
He wrote that movie.
Training Day, Fury. I actually like Sabotage.
Is Sabotage the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
Sabotage wasn't bad.
Yeah, so because I was like, hold on, like, why does it remind me of like Harsh Times and like Street Kings? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's David Ayer again. It's the same movies. So let's talk about David Ayer's Harsh Times, Street Kings. Yeah, Harsh Times had Christian Bale. But
that was wasn't that with Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, it all kind of runs together. But End to Watch, Sabotage, Fury, which is on my top 100, Suicide Squad, and Bright. And then for writing, you have the first Fast and the Furious movie, Training Day, SWAT, all the movies that he directed.
He wrote U-571. That's what caught my interest. That's that movie with Matthew McConaughey and Harvey Keitel, sub-movie.
Yeah.
Where they have to capture a German U-boat. So U-571, and he did the screenplay for the Fast and the Furious.
To me, like, David Ayer is kind of like David Goyer. They write sometimes well, and then when they miss pretty badly.
Biggest part of that is that he's gotten a lot more control over his films. And I think that might be one of the negatives that can occur to some of these people, because folks will just like, they'll just completely take over. So like in the Wise and Fury as well. Fury was produced by Brad Pitt, I think.
Yeah.
So he would have had enough chops to say, hey, this might be a little bit much. Let's do it this way.
Well, I think there is something to what you're talking about, because Antoine Fuqua directed Training Day, and at least by that time,
and produced it.
Yeah, at least by that time, he was a respected director.
He still is.
I'm not going to dispute that. But Fury had a lot of level control. Then you see Training Day had a lot of level control over his writing.
He definitely had that, because Denzel's definitely, he's going to control what comes out of his mouth when he's in the movie. He had a shit ton of producers on In the Watch. So that was purely a studio film. And they just kind of like would have not tamped him down and stuff. But he's one of those directors that it looks like he needs a lot of oversight. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Every actor can't direct.
Well, I would say technically he is a good director. I'm talking about Bright. There's shots in this movie that look good, but the overall idea of it is not well pulled off. What do you think David Ayer's biggest problem is?
Well, for me personally, I think his biggest problem is that he's got too many ideas up in his head, and he's now got an outlet to put those ideas down. And
it's like he doesn't have structured thinking.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I think technically he knows how to make a movie. Technically he knows how to write a movie. He knows what he goes on his head. I'm pretty sure this movie was very different in his head than how it came out on the screen.
He doesn't know how to cut the fat of the movie because he wants to put the best product out there. But then he probably feels that, hey, I can't put the best product out there without having all the elements. So therefore his thinking is scattered.
He admitted after Suicide Squad, he said when he went back and watched it, that there were so many things that he wished he'd have gone back and done differently. Because, I mean, at some point you see a first cut of the movie, so why didn't you see the things wrong then?
Backlash, and then he wised up. It's like, oh yeah, I would have changed that. Yeah, because it's a dumb idea.
Also, you're pretty insulated when you're cutting that movie because you lock down, you're insulated. You've only got people around who've been invested in that movie. It's the same reason why you have someone like a peer review of something or a proofreader, someone separate who's not involved in the process. You have someone else sit down and look at it. Probably in his head, he understood everything that went on. He knew exactly what happened 2,000 years ago when the elves and the orcs and all fought against this dark master, dark prince, whatever the hell this guy was. And they all knew that magic was, these wands were probably mysterious and only a handful were around. He probably had all that in his head because he already created it in his head. And when he did the movie, he said, I'm going to cut out that part and just make it about this one night, not realizing that he was the only one who knew the whole story and didn't see the plot hole. So I guess, and Will Smith, he's taken so many hits now for his behind the scenes work that he's done. I think that, what was that movie he did with his son?
Right? Earth.
He produced it, developed the script. He was the main person behind the entire thing. And that movie was terrible. And he had all the talent behind the scenes with it.
Oh, did M. Night Shyamalan get any flack for that? Because he directed that movie.
Oh, yeah, he got it.
Yeah, he always gets it. He caught the flack for that, but it was believed that a lot of it was Will Smith and his wife.
The main financiers behind that movie, right?
Yeah, and then producers. They put the script together. They put the whole thing together. They were the one who got Shyamalan to direct the movie. And I think that was the biggest point in that regard. So, I mean, David Ayer's got a lot of talent. I'm more than positive he can pull back from all of this. But, you know, it's just that he just needs some more oversight. And I know the failures that he's taken and the hits he's taken, that just means that someone that before they give him a fuck ton of money, they're going to have more people looking at his shit, and which is probably what he needs. Hell, Tom Cruise had to take a step back after his. And
the thing is, it's not necessarily a knock at him either, because sometimes you need someone to kind of tell you, no, you can't do that, or you know what, this idea is a great idea, but you need to put it here. It's just all about structuring, and I think that's his main problem, that he doesn't have a structured idea.
I mean, you know, everyone takes hits every now and then. Steven Spielberg is the best there is. But I mean, he's one of the best out there, but he's had some real fucking horrible movies at times. So
that Indiana Jones movie,
I do not understand why everyone hates that movie so much. It's not that bad.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is a bad movie, Keith.
It is not that fucking horrible. I mean, granted, I've never watched it again, because I love Indiana Jones, and but it wasn't that freaking horrible. That movie that I was talking about that HBO put out was called Cast a Deadly Spell.
Was Dennis Hopper in there?
No, he was in the sequel. He was probably going for just this thing. It was just like this magic was there. It was not the main focus of it, but it was trying to tell this other story, but with magic being kind of I don't want to say gimmick, but the kind of hook in it.
Well, again, a better chase movie involving a special being is Logan.
Yeah, that's great. And the interesting thing about that is that now the question is, to our point, is that would Logan have worked if it came out after X2?
You're saying that we didn't have the previous two Wolverine movies?
Yeah, if Logan came out after X2, we didn't have that sort of backdrop. In fact, if it hadn't come out, if it came out like maybe 6 years, 7 years earlier, we weren't all thinking that this is going to be Hugh Jackman's last one. Guy's in his 50s. He can't keep doing this movie anymore. Patrick Stewart was done. Kind of them coming in and doing this movie at the end. There was a lot more gravitas with Logan. In terms, because he was saying goodbye to the original X-Men. That was the finale.
For me, it would have still worked, just because I think the movie was just that good. I mean, I understand what you're saying. That has a lot to do with why it was good, but I don't think it would have made a difference. I mean, they could have made that movie and then decided they were going to recast and go in a totally different direction. I'd have been fine with it. That much better than the other Wolverine movies, especially the first one.
That first one was bad.
That first one was bad.
Yes,
how terrible that was. And he didn't believe me.
I did not.
Oh, that movie was terrible. I'd like to erase that from my mind, like that bullet to the brain. All right. I think we've talked enough about David Ayer. He sucks.